So we're recording.
Only 50 minutes after we wanted to start.
Yeah. Yeah, should we introduce ourselves? I was just thinking, like, where do we start? Yeah, so, okay, guys, so this conversation comes from, I posted this morning about selling and money and coronavirus, and it was a perfect opportunity to have a conversation with Erin, and she's going to explain you now who she is, and you will understand why. I'm Ines Ruiz. I'm originally from Spain, but I live in the States with my husband, who is in the Air Force, and I used to be a professor at Cambridge University, and now I have my online school between other businesses. And I think it was important to have that conversation about businesses generating money, and this, what can we do as business owners in this time. And I love to have this conversation with Erin. So if you can introduce yourself.
Yes, sorry, Terry is trying to join us, but we'll see if she can get here. So I am Dr. Erin Baker, and I have a PhD in psychology, so that means I'm really nerdy about all this mindset stuff, and spent some time in the tech world working at Facebook and at Microsoft before launching my own coaching business. And so this is something that's really near and dear to me as a business person, but also my coaching business is helping people leap out of their corporate jobs and oftentimes start new businesses. And so this is something that a lot of my clients are thinking about right now in terms of what should we be doing? How do we weather this storm? Should we be making money? Should we not? Should we just be completely serving? When's the right time to make money? So when you
I think we have the same. Yeah, we have the same. I think we can, a lot of the things that we were going through, they are applicable as well to people who want to start. We have the same kind of, hesitations. Yeah.
Right. So this is a great conversation. It's a conversation I'm seeing in a lot of different circles with lots of different answers. So I think it's great for you and me to talk about our different perspectives from our different vantage points.
And I think now it's a start in that conversation, but as time goes by in the States, because I'm talking from Europe perspective, which is where most of my clients are, so we are a bit more advanced in the corona situation. I think in the next weeks it's going to be harder to have this conversation here in the States, just because as things go harder, the death rates go up. Like in Spain, we have surpassed China in deaths right now. So I think this conversation is going to get harder. So I think if we have it now, we can help a lot more people navigate that, just because, it's already happening there. And I don't know if you guys, whatever you think about what's happening, I've been following what happened in Italy and it's happening in Spain, and it just works the same way. So it's going to happen something very similar. And I think I did that post because I was talking with some friends this week, and to be honest, they were freaking out because there's, not enough clients, or clients right now, they are worried about something else. And I was just telling them, listen, it's going to count down. Everybody's now in survival mode. You're just thinking about your family, food, taking care, shelter, be okay, that you are now thinking about personal development or a course or this or that. But I'm talking from a perspective that my country has been in lockdown almost 2 weeks. So these past 2 weeks, our sales have gone up a lot. And I didn't have this conversation with anybody, but because I felt guilty, and that's where our conversation starts. But because I saw where my friends were, I was like, guys, calm down. It will stabilize a bit in a bad way, it's a bad contest to say it will stabilize when it gets locked down, but it is what happened. Like people are starting to be like, I always wanted to do your course, but I never had the time. So we are having a lot of those sales, and we are having a lot of, like they want to use this time for something good, so they are like thinking about their dreams, starting a business, or I always wanted to do the certification, or, we cannot put our fears on our clients because they are not thinking the same way. They are thinking, okay, what can you offer? What can I do with you that it's gonna, make me be better when this is, after coronavirus, you guys are going to have a certification. That's how they see it. Meanwhile, as I was seeing it, I was like, oh my God, like this is so bad. I want to be tasteful about it. I don't want to do sales. I don't want to do anything. I don't need to sell more. We have consistent sales that if we have 3 rough months, I'm good with it. I just want to respect what's going on. And then we just came up with a bunch of, okay, what can we do? And we just made a list of, okay, we're going to give them a challenge, a free challenge, how to teach online. Like we're going to have a lot of people who, they are teaching live and they're going to have to be teaching online. So let's do a free challenge for them so they can start doing that. We put all our materials 50% off, and we gave them a 60% discount, which we never do in our Teach Online course. So we were like, this is what we can do to help. And we asked them, like, it was a very open email. We asked them, do you think we can do something else for you guys? What do you guys need? So that's how we were, because we were selling more before that. We didn't need to create that connection with them. Our sales were up before we did that, but we wanted to acknowledge what's going on and what else can we do for you guys. So yeah, we're having a lot of sales. And another thing that I think you're gonna like is we wanted to help them with the online course, but what is happening is they are getting our bigger certification. So they are like, okay, you want to help me with that, but actually I have the time, so I want the big certification. So
they're going bigger. They're
yes,
going bigger than they normally would.
Yes, because they have the time, and it's something like the difference is the online course teaching online is 50 hours and the certification is 150. So even if you give them everything that you think they may need, they might actually go some other way that you are not thinking, but they have a discount for that one too. So either way, we are helping them in whichever way they need it. So Terry's saying, I'm currently offering virtual classes and I haven't mentioned cost at all. It's my students who are asking how they can pay. Exactly.
Yeah. So the question I have for you, Ines, because you put this in the comment on Facebook, but you were doing all this stuff, right? You're giving away stuff in the challenge, you're discounting, you're doing all these other things, and yet you said your monkey mind was still having doubts. So what was going on for you there?
First of all, I think it's hard for us entrepreneurs to talk money. Just right off the bat, I think that's kind of a taboo conversation. If you add to that I feel that I don't want to look like we are taking advantage of that situation or that we are not being respectful or what's going on. And then on the other hand, seeing other fellow entrepreneurs who have to close their businesses, who are struggling, who, they don't know the uncertainty. I think that's the fear. It's not the fear, it's the uncertainty. That's the fear everybody has. So it kind of feels guilty in terms of I'm doing good and somebody's not, which again is a situation that we can have even without coronavirus, right? But I think because of the situation, it's just more aggravated because other times when somebody is not making more money, you can still give them tools and help them. But this situation is like an external thing. We always want to take responsibility, right? For everything that is going on in our lives. But right now it's like something else is happening that it is impacting all of us, so it doesn't depend on them so much. I always think that we can create whatever we want and we can make as much money as we want. But right now it just feels a bit more restrictive in terms of what some businesses can do. So I feel bad talking about it or saying, or even like yesterday we were selling like crazy and I was like, oh my God, like I felt that guilt, like what is going on, like what's happening, and I think what happens too is we go back to that, is this just a peak, are we going down after this, is there a point in the lockdown that they're gonna stop buying, and it just goes all the worst case scenarios, go through your head.
Yeah. How are those fears different right now for you than the normal cycles of like, we all as entrepreneurs, right, have that, what if tomorrow I wake up and no one ever buys again?
Mm-hmm.
How is that different right now for you?
It feels way extra heavier, and that you have to be a lot more careful with everybody's feelings. Especially, we have a 90,000 people email list. That gives you a chance for a lot of connection and a lot of love, but it gives you a chance for a lot of people outrage on, because of these. Or so it's a big audience to be, you have to take care of the feelings of 90,000 people. You know what I mean? Like, we take seriously our communication and our clients. So it just makes it very heavy in terms of, we have to be careful how we talk about this, how can we help? And there's always going to be somebody that is, is going to have something bad to say, but I feel like it's a layer heavier than, normal entrepreneurship. And I think at some point, I think after years of being an entrepreneur, you kind of get over it. But this, I cannot get over it. I cannot get over what's happening in Spain. And, there's a ski ramp, they just transform it into a morgue because they don't know what to do with the dead bodies. Like, it's as heavy as that, So it feels very, it's not important, our sales or our money is like not important. That's the essential thing. And it's really hard. I feel that for us, it's hard to navigate that when all of that is happening. And again, I say it's not happening yet to that scale here, but whenever it happens, it's going to be very heavy and difficult for us as entrepreneurs to navigate it. So I think that's why having this is important, to know how can you face it when it's happening here in the States, when it's that heaviness and that death and, everything seems so irrelevant. I think that's the thing, watching the news that this morning, I was just watching the news and I had the Stripe pop up, and I had the news in the background talking about the morgue and all of that. And I just have that, boom, boom, you receive $497, and it kind of brings that, you are generating more income in a situation that might not be appropriate to be making money.
So that's an interesting thing that you just have brought up, though, is how do you know if it's appropriate or not to make money? Are there some entrepreneurs where it is appropriate? Are there some entrepreneurs where it's not?
I think, I don't know if you started to see, but I started to see ads with what everything is going on. You have to learn these, they are, I think here in America, you guys are more aggressive in terms of marketing messaging. And it's not as bad as it is in Europe. If they put the ad that I've been seeing on Facebook talking about, use your time, like this is a blessing in disguise, da, 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 da. If you put that ad on a society that has lost more people than China right now, it's like tone deaf. Is that how you say it? Like it's, but yeah, nobody can tell you when it's appropriate or not, unless you are playing with about the disease itself, like you are using the disease for sales. I think that's the thing. And we don't, we would just, this is the situation, you're in lockdown, guys. This is all what we can offer. But still, it feels a bit rough. And I wouldn't have posted that about, my post this morning if I didn't see some friends are struggling, and I just wanted to be like, hey, it's not gonna be like that. Things will calm down. I'm from surviving, we will go to development. I want to grow, I want to do different things. But I feel it's hard to conciliate those. Where is your, like, for example, we just finished that challenge and now they are asking about our courses. Where do you put where is the limit in terms of how much can we do marketing? How much more emails we can send them, or what other things we can do to support them? You know, like, where do you stop?
What would you say to an entrepreneur who needs the income right now for their survival?
I think that if it comes from an aligned place, like we did, like we were not, my survival does not depend on this month's sales. So, which is hard to say, because at the same time, we're going through a really hard time. And, you know, I'm be saying this from a privileged place of, you know, you have to do it from a place that it's aligned with you, not from a place of need. But if you're already in a place of need, you know, what I'm saying is pretty privileged to say. But the thing is, like, it's not because I don't need it, it's because I don't have an attachment. I really want to help them, and how can I do it? You know, I could open all my courses for free, but that will not make any sense neither. You know, we had to find a balance between helping them and still being sustainable, because if I start giving all my courses for free and certifications, I'm just destroying my business. You know, so I needed to find that balance between those two. But I was not.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what I'm hearing from you, and I think this is really important for everybody out there who's thinking about this, is coming from an aligned place. How will you know if it's appropriate? Well, if you check in with yourself about why you're doing what you're doing, how you're doing what you're doing, if it's coming from a heart-centered, how do I serve, how do I help these people place, that shows. People feel that.
Yeah. And believe it or not, we haven't had any hate email from a 90,000 people email list,
right?
which I think that
they can feel your heart, right? And I think that is the key out there, is that in this time when a lot of people do need to be selling, or maybe not just need, but want their businesses to continue to grow, is to really come from, how can I come at this from a place where I'm aligned with myself and my values and what's important to me.
And you can really help them, like really,
I can really help, right? If you can really help, then it's not, is this too much? It's, how much more can I do?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, the way we thought they needed the help, it didn't. And they just went straight to the certification without even, we didn't even mention it, you know? So
that's also a great lesson, right? Is that in these times, we have a tendency to project what people are willing to do, what they're willing to pay for,
nobody's buying, nobody's gonna buy anything.
Right.
You know, we had this conversation in the team meeting, like, should we send this email? Like, are they gonna care? Like, they are just busy with the whole thing. Like, how are they gonna care about, you know, I feel that there's gonna be a lot of hesitation, and it's okay, you know, but if you have people that you can have these conversations with, or a team that they are all aligned with how you see business and how you want to treat your clients, then it's easier to take those decisions. But for sure, these conversations are going to happen. Right. The key is with you, with who are you having those conversations that are going to support the way that you think, instead of being like, you still have to sell, just go ahead and be selling, you know, that's a very different approach than the approach that we are talking about.
Absolutely. And I think that's such a crucial thing. In my world, I have been hanging out with all kinds of entrepreneurs who want to do this the right way. And we've been having these conversations about how much do you give away of your products and services right now? When do you know that it's the time to sell and get back to business? And the answer so far has been, we won't know, but we're all going to kind of keep an eye out, feel the pulse, feel like we're doing this all as a collective. And even today, someone in my circles put out a program, and I emailed my coach and was like, hey, this happened, let's keep an eye on it. so that we're all thinking about this from the right place, because it really is easy, especially with the marketing sharks out there who are like, seize the opportunity. This is the time to sell, sell, sell. It can feel super icky. And yet there are so
also
many
because
people out
those
there.
sharks use fear for sales.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Right.
You know, like for us, we did the challenge before. We had it already ready, so it was easy for us, you know, just to plug and play. It's pack of content. Like they can start teaching Spanish online after that challenge in its own, which I think that's what value is, that you know, you give them enough tools for them to start. It's just if after they want to follow the journey with you, because you can help them even faster, that's the point. So that challenge in itself is already like packed. It's a 5-day challenge. It's packed with videos, with resources and all of that. So what we did is in the normal sequence on day 2, we are already telling them about our online course. So with this one, what I did is just sit with the team and we look at the sequence, and I was like, no, let's wait a bit more. Let's start on day 3. And let's not use these things that in another context is totally fine, but let's just be more conversational. So what are the questions that they ask us? How do you do the switch, you know, from live to online? So we're just gonna make it more conversational and giving them explanations of things instead of, here you have the certification. So we change it, and I think that that's a really good marketing exercise. How can you make things more softer and more connection based instead of, here's my product? So we reviewed the whole sequence and we made it more connection, more conversation, and what things are they asking us that we can actually explain further. So we change, even if you are giving something for free, just check everything that is around it to go with the same values. It doesn't matter if it's for free or if it's paid, like everything has to go with the same values, because if not, that's when it feels like, you know, it's out of place.
Yeah. And I would add to that, from my expertise in research, is that this is a fantastic time to reach out to your current clients or customers, or your past clients and customers or people, and say, what are your needs right now? They may be a little bit different than normal. And you're talking about adapting to online from live, but I can imagine different people with different courses, or people who are, you know, doing more one-on-one stuff, really could adapt what they do to the times and feel even more like they're coming from an aligned place, because now they're actually listening to what other people are really.
And I think that you showing up, that just shows them that you care and that you are there, and they might just go another route. Like my email list, we just show up for them, give them everything we thought they wanted, and they were like, cool, I actually want the bigger course, without even, you know, we didn't even offer that. So I feel that just by us showing up and, you know, just being really trying to help and to give them something of value, they might just go other way, you know, and buy something else, or in a month they might buy something else from you. So I think it just makes us stronger, a stronger connection that can lead themselves or not, but at least it's a stronger connection that you're gonna have with all of them.
Yeah, and I think what you're speaking to is not just the short-term connection, right? It's right now, they're looking, people out there in general, if they are looking for, what am I going to learn right now, or what am I going to be doing, they're looking for the people that they can trust. And even if they decide, you know what, I'm not going to invest in myself right now, 3 months from now, maybe a different story, and they're going to go, what was the company that was being so crazy generous back then? Oh,
like
right.
people think that selling processes take like a week. Like our selling processes go between 15 days to 6 months or a year. Like we are here for the long run. Like we are high end to education in Spain. Education in Europe, it's almost free. So for them to pay for our certification, that's a big step. Like our biggest pack, which is like the complete certification, it costs the same as some masters. Wow. So it is a commitment from them, but that's why I'm not here for the sale right now for the $27 product. I'm here for the long run. And that's when you switch from selling to relationships, and just, we are here whenever you're ready. You know, if you cannot afford it right now, I'm not going to push you and ask you to go in debt with your credit card. We are just like, we are here. And actually we give them, I have been, you know, I've been studying, I've been doing my last master's on neuromarketing, and we have something that is called, which is here, experiential and sensory marketing. And we change the way we respond to inquiries. When you come to us asking for a course, we give you all the answers, very honest, very direct. And then at the end, and we are like, and just because you came to us and you got interest, here you have the essential pack for the teacher, and they have different downloads. So you are finishing, even an inquiry, you are finishing that experience with a really positive experience for them. So that's the thing. If they are sending 5 schools emails asking about the courses, which one do you think they're gonna remember?
Right.
Because we remember what we feel. So we do work a lot on that.
Yeah. And I think that's a really interesting thing to be thinking about, that right now, even just the act of putting out what you have to offer as a program and doing it from this place of aligned space is building the relationships for later. And so it's almost like, how can you get your brain to stop thinking about this is inappropriate of a time to sell?
I'm talking with you and I getting pumped up because I know we do the right thing, right? Like we are killing it at in the relationship store, but I feel that we still hesitate and we're still gonna feel these things, and it's just a very difficult time.
So we've talked about this in the past when we had a conversation about a webinar you did. What if it's okay to feel those feelings and recognize them as valid, and yet still keep doing what you know is right for you and your business? Because I think what's happening, I'm hearing that how do I either stop feeling guilty or stop selling? What if you don't, right?
Yeah, but that's basically, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay for these feelings to come up. It's now, do they change what you're doing? Or how can you make sure you're so aligned with your values and who you are and what your business wants to do, that you know that that feeling of guilt is okay to hold on to while continuing to sell, continuing to make money, continuing to build the longer term of your business.
Yeah. And I think, there's also a personal level, because my family is in Spain. So I think unconsciously it's hard for me not to be there for them. And it's like, I'm just here. Okay. I'm making money. I think it has another layer of family, which you guys will get in a few weeks when it's happening here, and you are worried about your parents in another state, of your family somewhere else. I think that's an extra layer, but I love that. I acknowledge that feeling, and it is valid, you have to have some reaction, right? When you have on your screen the news with the morgue, and then you have the boom, boom, it is normal to have a reaction, but that is not gonna define what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
It's not gonna define the place that I'm operating from. I think that's the point.
Yeah, and I think from just what I know about you and just how humans tend to operate, I'd be worried about you if you weren't feeling some feelings.
Right? Yeah.
And I don't think you could come from a heart-centered, I want to do right by my clients or my customers place if you weren't having some feelings.
That would be scary.
Right? So it's almost like it's a good thing that you're feeling that, because it's allowing you to be very careful and tender with your people, acknowledging what's going on and coming from the right place.
Definitely. and I'm gonna add another layer for you here. Facebook ads. How, because we run Facebook ads, and it's like, should we stop them? Which I guess it just goes with the same thing. Like, should we stop them? Should we change the copy? Because they keep on going like nothing happened. So they are just, our ads are for a webinar or this or that. So I think that's the next level of selling.
And I think that goes back to the research piece. What are your people needing to hear right now that an ad could say?
Yeah.
Even like I've seen early on ads here in the US of car companies changing some of their wording around. We know it's tough times. We have flexible payment plans. Doesn't feel tone deaf at all. I know we're behind, right, by a few weeks, but it doesn't feel tone deaf. It feels like, oh, they adapted. So the question for you is, how do you do that? And I think for you, actually thinking about how do you make sure you don't over rotate towards being so giving and so, we know this is a hard time, that you actually make people feel more afraid than they are.
That is a really good point. Because we were coming more, like the way we communicate with them, it's a more motivational one. Like, we know it's rough times, but we want you to make the most out of this. We know that families are going through a lot of hardship and personal things with your grandpas. We have a really, like, it has hit really hard on, how do you say, like, elderly centers? Is that how you say it? So
senior centers, yeah.
It's, it's just a lot of family heaviness. So we come more from a motivational place. Like, we know times are hard and all of this, but this is what we can do to help you and spend your time doing something, instead of just being watching Netflix. We want to help you to get a better a better CV, or get more prepared for after. It just feels like after work, whatever is happening after Corona is going to be a whole different arena for them.
Yeah. That sounds to me like you've come from a place of care, and it's not instilling fear, it's empathy. The thing is just checking your own energy out there, because I've seen some people who it's very clear that they're scared, and the way they're talking about things, you can feel that fear.
Yeah,
you can feel that fear. And then there's other people who are saying basically the same thing, but you don't feel that fear. And so it's, you can be in this place, an empathic business person, while also being a pillar of it's all going to be okay.
I think that's a whole other conversation, that being
as like entrepreneur.
Yeah. That's a whole
conversation, but there's a lot to it. But I think there's a lot here already that we've talked about too, right? Like, you can feel your feelings, be in alignment, don't over rotate, but be really cognizant of what your people need right now and give that.
Yeah.
And think about the fact that you're not necessarily selling to them right now.
Yeah.
So about appropriate, inappropriate times to sell, if they just see you out there helping and offering something, they may come to you now, they may come to you 6 months from now. It's about how,
and that's the thing, how
your business wants to show up.
Yes.
Right? Who do you want to be seen as? And how do you make sure that in that process, you don't do anything that's going to jeopardize your longer term?
That was the conversation we had when, what are we going to do? And the conversation was, should we give them the course for free? And it's like, we can, but that's not going to be sustainable for us. That's the thing. Like, our livelihood are the courses. Some people who do coaching, they might be giving away courses, but that's our livelihood. I cannot jeopardize who we are, you know, because then we have nothing, and I'm just gonna be going against myself and against my team. Because that's the thing, like I owe them, you know, for them to have a job, and we can do all these things. But if we are jeopardizing, I think that's the thing, that some people make you feel that now you have to give everything for free. And the people who are giving things for free, it's because it's not their main business.
Right. And I think what you're hitting on is so, so important. There are so many people out there doing their business their way. And it's so easy to look around and be like, what should I be doing? Should I be giving it away for free? Should I be charging money? What should I be doing? Blah, blah, blah. And what comes down to at the end of the day is knowing you and your business, and not being in the game of social comparison. Because there's also this, like, I can see this, like, okay, I have to be just as of service as that business, or I have to be just as salesy as that business. Whatever it is, it's easy to fall into already in our world where social comparison.
But the thing is, like, we're comparing to them, but we don't know the business model.
Right. Exactly. Which we do all the time with comparison, right? We do compare our what we feel internally to what we see to other people externally. Yeah.
We compare, and you're gonna love that, because I say we compare our back end with somebody else's front end.
Right. Totally. And so yes, we can't judge what everybody else is doing and why they're doing what they're doing. We just need to check in with ourselves and say, what do I want to be doing? What can I be doing? And then from there, how do I do this from a place that feels really good?
I think that's the other thing that businesses are facing, that how much do I give? Because everybody's giving, should I give? And I think that's a really relevant question for what's coming.
Yeah. What can I do? What do I want to do?
And still keep my business sustainable, you know, for it to be sustainable.
Yeah. It goes back to this question of, or this word we use all the time in our language, which is should, right? When you look out to what other business people are doing, it's what should I be doing? Should I be giving it for free? And the minute you start looking at shoulds, you're external to you. And it's a great time to reconnect to the fundamentals of what do you value? What do you care about? What do you want to do? What can you do?
Well, the conversation with my team, I sat down with them and I was like, with what we have, what can we do?
Yes.
Because I cannot be creating new things, doing new things. Like, what can we help them with what we have right now?
Yes. And I think the thing that comes back for you then is giving yourself permission to tell yourself that you're doing the best you can in a time when nobody knows what the F is going on. Nobody knows the right answer. There are no right answers.
There are no right answers.
You're asking your team questions. What can we do with what we have? And then the thing to come back to yourself is saying, I did the best I could with what I had.
It is. Because I didn't want to get caught into creating things and get my team, like, I see my team as the flow of the business. Anytime I want to create something new, I kind of remove them from that flow to create something new. So right now, I need my team full on in that flow, in that sustainability. So for us, it was just a matter of what can we use that we have. Because if not, we're just gonna, again, it's gonna go against the business instead of helping the people and helping us to continue.
You're all doing the best you can with what you have. And one thing I will invite you to think about is, as you're putting out these emails and trying to care for your community, if you mess up, you were doing the best you could with what you had at the time, right?
That is
that, and I want to put that out there to all people right now who are thinking about what do they do in their business. We just don't know. There are no right answers. Go with what your heart is saying.
These conversations are so important, so we don't get caught up in our heads.
Right.
And let the little monkey run the business, run the show, when you kind of stop it with this kind of conversation and just be real about what's happening.
Yeah. And I think it's important for these conversations be happening one-on-one. I think as communities of entrepreneurs need to be having these conversations. And, you know, something that's really helping me right now is having my own coach to have these conversations with, because it's really nice when I have someone who knows the depths of my business, helping me get really clear, right? Is this the time to launch that $10,000 program or not?
Mm-hmm. We'll get through it.
Yeah.
We will.
Yes. Well, I want to thank you for having this conversation, for initiating it, and for sharing your experience. I think it's still, for so many of us in the US, not a reality. And hearing your reality and how you're handling this, I think, is going to be super helpful for a lot of us out there. Yeah. And thanks for sharing your emotions around this, right? Because we've talked before, so many entrepreneurs will just not share what's actually happening and just keep going forward. And it's so important to me in particular that entrepreneurs are sharing what they're going through, so that we don't feel so alone.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I was doing a podcast interview this morning, and we got to the same point where I was like, we owe it to other women entrepreneurs, or to other, other entrepreneurs, that, because when we started, now it's a bit, vulnerability and all of that is a bit more on trend, but 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it was not. So we were putting up to some expectations that were unrealistic. So by us opening up and talking about these things, this is the reality of what it is to have a 6-7 figure business, and what's happening, what's going on through your mind as a leader. Because now we have to show up as leaders, even if it's for your team, or if even for 2 people. We all have to get to that leadership and showing up the way we really want to, and not showing vulnerability, or me not tying up when I talk about the mortgage and the debts in Spain. It's not making me weak, or not a good business owner, or not a good marketer. It's not, one thing doesn't go with the other. So I'm always happy to talk about anything.
That, and I want to acknowledge you for being an entrepreneur with so much heart and soul.
It's hard sometimes.
There are a lot of us out there, and it's just so wonderful to see who you are, how you want to show up in this world, and how you're leading through these times. And so I just want to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you. I'm not gonna cry.
I'm like, you can if you want. I'm good at making people cry. I've learned this.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You really are. Yeah. In a good way. But yeah, I love having conversations with you. So, especially harder conversation, I think you navigate them really well, and I love that.
I think we should have some more conversations, because I think also your experience in terms of how you run your business is very different than some of the people in my world, and there's a lot we can learn and share from each other. How can you be a heart-centered entrepreneur like you running Facebook ads is a question that I know so many people have. So I'm leaving this conversation with an open invitation to, let's have some more conversations, because I think we can benefit from each other on that, and our communities can benefit from hearing from
each other. And I love to talk about those conversations that they are not even, I don't even think about that. I think just Facebook ads in a whole other way that is.
There's a whole subset of people who just have it in their head that you can't be heart-centered and have Facebook ads. And
what?
Let's not have that conversation right now, but it is a thing.
Oh my God. Yeah, we need to have that conversation. Yes. And email marketing too, that they can go together.
Okay, sounds great.
Awesome. Well,
thank you, love.
Thank you, amor.
Te quiero mucho. Mwah.
Mírala, la española. Okay, give me a second here.